Hey folks, Post here, welcome back to another Poem Master video, and yes, I will be wearing the hat, I guess in videos, until you guys think it's like way too much and I need to stop, right? Or when I actually need to use my headphones, because I don't think this thing fits with headphones. Does it work? It fits, but it looks super weird. I don't know. But anyways, Betty's hat, here we go. Again, if we get to 30k subscribers, I will give away the Scotty hat if you guys want. But anyways, let's get into today's video, which is Lycanroc Synchro. So Lycanroc Synchro, as you guys know, is very, very good, right? Got a lot of stuff you can do. You got stuff like Hunter's Instinct, Surging Sand 5, Powerful X 3. Well, you probably don't want to pick that up. Cakewalk, like a lot of like damage dealing grids, and then you got a lot of very, very powerful tech stuff on its grid as well, with Celerock staggering 5, right? Leer move gauge refresh, got Rock Tomb 2 move gauge refreshes on that, and then some other stuff, Sands of Time, Soothing Sand, right? If you want to tank / help your team speed. I don't know. It just does, like, it has like so many different nodes that you could use on this grid, and there's a lot of different grids that you could use for Lycanroc. It's really not defined to like one single grid that you want to use. There's again multiple different kinds of grids that you want to use for different situations, different team comps, whatever, different opponents you're facing, right? So anyways, let's get into this. As usual, let's start with 1 out of 5 grid. 1 out of 5 grid, with like most other 1 out of 5 grids, there's really not much to say. Just pick up everything that's not Rock Tomb, unless you're running Rock Tomb, which again, Rock Tomb's not that great. 1 out of 5 is actually really good because you both get Woo Refreshing and Leer Move Gauge Refresh 4, which is really, really nice. So yeah, basically just pick up all the non-Rock Tomb grids. If you're running Sand, then you could pick up Shifting Sand. If not, then I don't know. Then you save some energy. If you want to do Rock Tomb, you could obviously pick up Rock Tomb nodes up as well. But again, 1 out of 5, not much to talk about. Anyway, let's go to 2 out of 5. 2 out of 5, you actually get some really decent stuff in terms of damage, because you get Surging Sand 5 over here, which with your passive, right? Surging Sand, your passive, which is a Surging Sand 5, you get Surging Sand 10 on that, which is a lot of damage, right? So depending on how you want to do this, you go through Shifting Sand or Leer Move Gauge Refresh 4, right, to pick up that Surging Sand 5. And you probably also want to pick up Woo Refreshing, MP Refresh 3, and Hunter's Instinct. From here, you got a few options. If you're, if your team, depending on what you're running, if you're running it as like a support-ish option, like tech-ish option, but also want to do some damage. If you're like running, okay, basically if you're running it along Cynthia, right, you probably want to pick up stuff like Soothing Sand over here. Maybe Sands of Time if you want to go with that, right? Although I don't think you really need Sands of Time, because like with Cynthia already has like Sands of Time, or Earthquake Move Gauge, whatever you want to do, right? And then Acerol is a 1 gauge spam. Kukui is a 0 gauge / 1 gauge spam. You really don't have to worry about that. So it's really between, you picking up some more Accelerock power ups, or if you want to pick up the Leer Move Gauge Refresh, right? So yeah, again, it depends on what you're trying to do. This is obviously more damage oriented, but if you want to be more tech-ish oriented, you probably want to pick up stuff like Leer MGR. You know what? Let's just build a completely different grid for a tech one, right? You still want Cakewalk, because if you're running it with Cynthia, right? Because if you're running it with Cynthia, you want to sync with a Kukui. You do not want to sync with Cynthia, except for the first one when you want to get Cynthia to a Garchomp to Mega, right? After that, you want to sync with the Kukui. Kukui's sync moves just so much stronger, and also Cynthia's Earthquake is just so much more valuable than using a sync move, right? So as for other stuff, Woo Refreshing, you still want to pick that up. Maybe you want to pick up Fanfare. I don't think it's like that big of a deal, just because Acerola, you have like Flag Bearer, you could give Cynthia attack like that. But again, if you're trying to conserve MP on Cynthia's own X attack, maybe Acerola's Flag Bearer is a bit too slow, so you maybe want to pick up Fanfare as well. Yep, there's also that. You're mainly going to use Leer. I really don't see any scenario where you really want to be using Rock Tomb over Leer, unless you just Leer the opponent to like -6. But by then, once you -6 your opponent, Cynthia and Sand's going to one-shot, basically just one-shot or two-shot everything in the game. So you don't have to worry too much about that, but you definitely do want to pick up Soothing Sand. Maybe Sands of Time, again, with Cynthia, I don't think it's that big of a deal. But yeah, that's basically all the stuff you want to pick up. As for some other stuff, just mainly just stats, right? So you could share the burden of tanking hits with Acerola, because both of them aren't the best in terms of tanks, but they could all both do well, especially in Sand with Soothing Sand, right? So you probably want to pick up some defensive nodes here and there, right? Instead for the last bit of your grid. So yeah, that's 2 out of 5 Kukui. Now let's go to 3 out of 5 Kukui, which we have a lot more options to play around with. We get a Celerock Staggering 5, which is a 13 energy cost grid, which is very, very powerful. 60% chance to flinch the opponent on your Celerock, which these guys all know is really, really high, right? So let's first talk about like just a full damage build that you don't have if you're not worrying about flinching the opponent or whatever. You just want to rush the stage and like just take out the opponents. You want to go with a lot of this stuff, right? Cakewalk, Surging Sand, Sand Blaster, maybe pick up a Sync Move power up, and then pick up like an Acerola, not, I almost said Acerola, a Celerock power up, something like this, right? Because like Cakewalk plus Sand Blaster, like that's a huge Sync move as well, as like you still get 30% on Hunter's Instinct and Surging Sand 5. Although this is generally, you could only run this honestly with Kabutops. Or else you won't get, buffs, right? Because Kabutops could give you speed down on the opponent, and you generally don't want to use your Kukui to speed down the opponent, right? And you'd rather probably honestly go with Leer instead. So if you're running this with Tech Kabutops, you could go with this, right? Picking up stuff like Cakewalk and all that stuff. Without it, if you're running it with Acerola, then like the speed down stuff isn't like that big of a deal. So you could just go pick up, Woo Refreshing. You could probably just ignore Cakewalk and pick up like the extra attack would be nice, right? Surging Sand 5 still. Maybe go over here, pick up the Sync Move power up, and then just some more Celerock power ups if you want, I guess, right? Because Celerock power ups are still pretty powerful. Or you could just do a combination. If you also want to try and go for a Celerock Staggering 5, you could obviously try and go for that as well. You do have to give up this side, right? And try to pick up Surging Sand 5 from the left side over here. So that's something else that you could run. Although I'd probably want to save Sand Blaster. But again, it's give and take. Staggering 5 or not, right? I guess if you go through Hunter's Instinct, let me see. If you go through Hunter's Instinct, like obviously it's not like that good, but no, you can't get through it either way. So it's a give and take, right? If you want Sand Blaster stuff or Celerock Staggering 5, and if you still want to pick up Surging Sand 5. As for a more tech-ish grid, right, for Kukui, you might want to do something like this, pick up Staggering 5, and then come down Leer MGR 4, so don't have to worry about that either. And depending on what you're running it with, if you're running it in Sand, you could pick up Shifting Sand, Soothing Sand, right? If you're running it outside of Sand, then obviously you don't need that stuff. You could just pick up stats for the most part, right? Fanfare if you need it. But aside from, like, again, a Celerock Staggering 5 and Leer Move Gauge Refresh, you don't have much else to do. It's just pick up stats, whatever defenses you need. Speed if you need it. Like Kukui really doesn't need speed just because it's like a 1 gauge spam with like MGR 5 and then like a 0 gauge move. And it has like 407 or something base speed, which is incredible. So yeah, that's most of the Kukui builds that you want to try and go for. I guess there could also be like a full Sync Nuke build if you want to do it for fun. It's not extremely serious, right? It's just better if you combine Sync Nuke with like more other power like Surging Sand 5, right? But yeah, just all this stuff, and then you could hit a pretty powerful Sync Nuke with Kukui that also doesn't cost you too much energy. So yeah, that's me with this one. Hope you guys enjoyed it. Let me know, guys, think in the comments down below. Like and enjoy this video. Subscribe to my channel for some more Pokemon Masters content. I'll see you guys in the next one.